Thursday morning, Central Georgia, you're taking a live look over the city of Dublin. We just came up on 6:30 a.m. here on this first day of September. Happy Baby Friday. I'm Wanye Reese.
And I'm Caitlin Heck. Of course, September, a big transition month for us as we've been talking about. So finally, we might be getting closer to some fall temperatures, Alex.
Yeah, that's right. And today is actually the beginning of meteorological fall, not astronomical fall, but in terms of how we keep track of weather data, it is officially fall in the meteorological world. But again, not going to feel like it. These are not our high temperatures. These are the current temperatures: 70 in Macon, 71 in Byron, waking up to 71 in Fort Valley, 71 in Forsyth. You head up towards the north. We did have some 60s sprinkled in a few minutes ago, back to 70 now. But you look up towards the metro Atlanta, you get some of those greens in there. That's the cooler, drier air not too far away. Also, they've got low dew points up there. A good reason to be jealous of them, because a 62-degree dew point feels much different from a 69-degree dew point. It probably feels nice up there, but that's okay. They can take it. They'll be right back into the humid stuff with us tomorrow. Here's a look at what's going on the radar picture right now. Just outside of Pinehurst there in Dooley County, a brief heavy downpour. That's generally speaking moving towards the interstate, but it's pulsed up and come back down several times. So we'll see if it actually makes it there. And then also southern Telfair County, right along the Ben Hill County line, and Coffee County right there. We'll continue to watch those showers here through the morning hours. 89 today, a 60% chance of rain. We'll go hour by hour on Future View coming up in just a few minutes.
It was so close with me having the daycare. I couldn't go to sleep.
You just heard her. A woman who runs a daycare in Hancock County says that she's worried for her safety and the kids that she takes care of after a shooting just down the road from her home.
Now, the GBI says Tuesday night a deputy with the sheriff's office shot 17-year-old Montavious Lewis during a fight. Now, this all happened on Shoals Road after the deputy responded to a stolen vehicle call there. The GBI says he made contact with Lewis and the 17-year-old started fighting with the deputy. That's when the deputy fired his weapon, hitting Lewis. As
of yesterday, the teen was stable at a Georgia hospital. Rihanna Grier says that her 16-year-old son is friends with Lewis and he's been to her home before.
He was always quiet. He didn't talk much. I've been wondering, was he okay? I haven't heard anything.
Now, the GBI says they will turn the results of their investigation over to the Okmulgee District Attorney's Office for review.
We reached out to the Hancock County Sheriff's Office several times for comment, but we have not heard back from them yet. It's now 6:32 a.m. A deadly July case involving a Hancock County woman put mental health care in focus. Last night, Democratic governor candidate Stacey Abrams joined civil rights attorney Ben Crump and the family of Rihanna Grier to talk about resources they think are needed in the state.
Yeah, we never would have called 911, and she would probably been living today.
Instead of sending someone who had the ability to grapple with a psychotic episode, instead law enforcement was sent to their house. And their child, instead of getting the help she needed, received a funeral.
Rihanna Grier died in July, days after deputies say she fell from their cruiser. Her family called the Hancock County Sheriff's Office for help because Grier was experiencing a mental health crisis. Abrams is pushing Medicaid expansion as a way to improve mental health resources throughout the state. Tonight, 13 Investigates Ashlyn Webb takes a closer look at Georgia's new co-responder law. You can look for that story this evening on 13 WMAZ News at 11.
All 6:33 in your state news this morning, investigators are trying to figure out what caused a fire at an off-campus student housing building under construction in Atlanta. Landmark Property says the fire broke out yesterday on the roof of the Legacy at Centennial. The company says they're looking into the extent of the damage, but they don't expect any material damage to the building. An Atlanta assistant fire chief says crews put out the fire within about 40 minutes. The privately owned tower plans to offer housing targeted at Georgia State University students. All right, now an 11-year-old boy faces juvenile charges after authorities say he stole his stepdad's truck and then led officers on a chase. A Liberty County Sheriff's captain says the child took the truck yesterday morning. The captain says law enforcement got called after bank employees saw the truck bump into an ATM machine. Authorities say the underage driver avoided an attempted traffic stop, then hit another car and led officers on a chase at speeds of up to 100 miles an hour. The chase ended after the truck finally got stuck in some mud. All right, in your election news this morning, voters, you have less than 10 weeks now until the November election.
I know it's creeping up on us. One race to keep an eye on, Georgia's Congressional District 2 seat. Democratic Representative Sanford Bishop has held the seat for nearly 3 decades. Now he has his biggest competition since back in 2010, a Thomasville lawyer and developer.
Political science professors Charles Bullock and Chris Grant both say Republicans have a better chance of winning the seat in Congress than in previous elections. They say that's because state leaders redraw congressional districts, putting more of a red-leaning population in District 2.
Because Southwest Georgia has not grown as rapidly as the rest of the state, you had to expand the district. So that means you had to bring in 100,000 or so new people into the district. Now, for those 100,000 or so new voters, this is like an open seat.
Republicans see this as an opportunity between the new voters being brought into the district and Congressman Bishop's gotten older, as an opportunity to be able to at least put some pressure on Congressman Bishop to think about retiring, if not defeating him in this election.
You can go ahead and mark your calendar as the general election is November the 8th with a deadline to register to vote on October the 11th.
Now, of course, you can read more about the challenges both Bishop and his opponent could face in this story on 13WMAZ.com. This morning, two state congressmen, Baldwin County commissioners, and Windstream will break ground on a broadband project. Baldwin County got a more than $840,000 grant from the state to expand broadband in underserved areas. The county says the grant allows Windstream to develop telecommunication facilities.
The goal to increase availability of telemedicine services, distance learning, and telework. The groundbreaking ceremony happens at 9 this morning at the Country Food Mart in beautiful Milledgeville. A closing on Spring Street in Macon over for now, when it will pick back up as crews continue demolishing the I-16 overpass.
Droughts happen all the time in Georgia and the U.S., whether it's a short-term or a long-term drought. But what does moderate drought look like compared to an exceptional drought? I'm here to break that down.
Thursday morning, a huge shout out to the students, teachers, and parents in beautiful Bleckley County. Our meteorologist paid them a visit recently.
Yeah.
Yes, we were down there yesterday. The fifth graders were learning about constructive and destructive processes when it comes to geography. And of course, weather can be a destructive process. So we talked about that. And we talked about a lot of other things, including how we do things here at the TV station, what kind of weather we see here in central Georgia, when you need to be prepared. So there are the fifth graders there in Bleckley County. And they had lots of questions yesterday about the Artemis 1 launch that comes up this weekend. So we enjoyed talking to them down there in Cochrane. Now, speaking of the Artemis 1 launch, we did get an update from the 45th Weather Squadron this morning. Not the best news, only about a 40% chance that it's able to get up on Saturday. Look for 80s with some sea breeze storms. So we'll be keeping an eye on it. Certainly an exciting time there. There's a live look at the radar this morning. We are mostly quiet with the exception down in Dooley County. One little shower there just outside of Pinehurst, south of Unadilla. It's on the east side of Interstate 75 this morning. Also a few down on the Telfair Coffee County line. But generally speaking, most of us are quiet here in central Georgia. 69 in Monticello, 68 in Forsyth, 70 in Gordon, and 73 in Wrightsville. The cooler air up towards the north, 63 in Nashville, 65 in Chattanooga, 71 in Montgomery, close to 80 down there on the coast in Pensacola, Florida this morning. Now, as we head through the day ahead, we are going to run into the risk of a few scattered showers during the morning hours, but then especially during the afternoon hours. There's the noon hour itself. 1 or 2 heavy downpours will be possible. Play this forward into the afternoon. We'll begin to develop these showers and storms. Overall, about a 60% chance of rain today for your Thursday here in central Georgia. A few of these could be on the stronger side, talking about gusty winds, frequent lightning, but anything we do see will begin to go to bed by the time we hit sunset tonight, which is at 8 o'clock, and it's our last 8 p.m. sunset this year, when the sun is not going to set again after 8 p.m. until April of 2023. On into the overnight hours, 1 or 2 sprinkles will be possible down to the south once again, and then into Friday afternoon, watching the threat of showers and storms for tailgating for those high school football games, but then also for the high school football games themselves. Some heavy downpours will be possible on the front end of the night. I do think by the time we wrap the games up, we will begin to catch a break in some of the rainfall. 89 today, 86 for Friday, and for Saturday, we'll hang around in the mid-80s for the holiday weekend, 87 by the time we get to Labor Day itself. Keeping an eye on the tropics this morning, we do have some news for you. Tropical Depression 5 formed at 5 a.m. We'll talk about that here in just a moment, but first, a 40% chance of development with this area disturbed weather near the Cabo Verde Islands right now, and then an 80% chance of development with these showers and storms as they move towards the north of the Lesser Antilles. That should curve out to sea. But let's talk about Tropical Depression 5. Again, it formed at 5 a.m. Winds of about 35 miles an hour right now. And it's not going to be a concern for us here in central Georgia or for the United States. It does a little loop right there and then on off into the northern Atlantic. But what 5 does have the potential of doing is becoming our first hurricane of the season. Here we are on September 1st, and we have not had a hurricane yet, but the activity is beginning to pick up in the Atlantic. Today, look for a high temperature right around 89, a 60% chance of rain. Could see some storms at times. Sunrise is at 7:09 this morning, and as I mentioned, sunset is at 8 o'clock. And then here's your football Friday night forecast. 86 for tailgating, 82 for kickoff, Sun sets at 7:58 tomorrow, and then 78 by the time we wrap things up for week 3 of high school football. Here's your 7-day forecast into Labor Day weekend. A 40% chance of rain on Saturday. That's up to 60% on Sunday, back down to 40% on Monday. So even though it is the official start of meteorological fall and the unofficial start of societal fall, we are still going to be locked into the summertime pattern here in Central Georgia.